Today, we're diving into a story that, for a whole generation in Britain, is still absolutely chilling. We're talking about Peter Sutcliffe. But this is about way more than just one serial killer. It's about a 5-year reign of terror that brought a nation to its knees and, honestly, exposed some shocking failures in the systems that were supposed to be protecting people.
Just try to imagine it. For 5 long years, from the mid-70s to the early 80s, women across northern England were literally told not to walk the streets alone at night. And this wasn't just friendly advice, right? It was this desperate plea against a very real, very present terror that had a single horrifying name.
The media gave him the name the Yorkshire Ripper. Now that was a deliberate callback to the horrors of Jack the Ripper. And a name like that, well, it did more than just report the news. It absolutely fueled a national panic, kicking off one of the biggest and most complicated manhunts in British history.
So, how in the world did one man's crimes manage to bring an entire nation to a standstill? Let's take a look at how this terror really unfolded across northern England.
Okay, so let's pull back the curtain on the killer himself. Who was this man, Peter Sutcliffe, behind these absolutely horrific murders?
Well, if you just looked at his background, Sutcliffe's early life was completely ordinary. Born into a working-class family, a quiet, kind of awkward kid, he left school, got into manual labor, and eventually became a truck driver. There was absolutely nothing in his childhood that screamed future monster.
And this right here, this is what's so chilling. It's the two faces of Peter Sutcliffe. To the world, he was a quiet, polite, married guy. But behind that mask, he was just consumed by these violent fantasies and this really deep-seated hatred. He even claimed he was on a mission from God to kill sex workers, which, psychologists now see as this twisted way for him to justify his own brutal urges.
So let's get into the killing spree itself, this 5-year reign of terror that he unleashed.
This timeline really shows you the terrifying length of his attacks. It all started back in 1975 with the murder of Wilma McCann. And for the next 5 years, his crimes just spread like a virus across northern England, creating this ever-widening circle of fear, all the way until he was finally caught in 1981.
So what made the fear so intense? It was because his targets started to change. Yeah, he began by attacking sex workers, but pretty soon, any woman could be a potential victim. Students, office workers, mothers. It was this randomness that meant no woman felt safe anywhere.
Okay, so you have a killer on the loose, public pressure is just through the roof. How did Sutcliffe manage to get away with it for 5 years? Well, the answer, unfortunately, is in a whole series of critical mistakes made by the police.
One of the biggest blunders, a truly catastrophic one, came from something called the Wareside Jack hoax. Some guy sent letters and an audio tape to the police claiming to be the Ripper. The investigators got completely obsessed with the accent on that tape. It was such a distraction that they ended up dismissing the real killer, Peter Sutcliffe, even after interviewing him an incredible 9 times.
So finally, in January 1981, after 5 years of terror and so many failed leads, the hunt was over. But here's the crazy part. It wasn't because of some brilliant detective work. It was almost pure chance.
It all came down to a routine traffic stop. Police pulled Sutcliffe over for having false license plates, and that's when they found his weapons. Then, during questioning, he just calmly confessed. He detailed all his crimes with this cold, emotionless calm that just stunned even the most hardened investigators.
13. That was the official number. 13 women Peter Sutcliffe was convicted of murdering, and he was also found guilty of trying to murder 7 others. 13 lives just gone, and so many others were shattered forever.
The legacy of this case is just massive. The catastrophic failures of the investigation basically forced a complete reboot of British policing. It brought in huge reforms to how they investigate crimes, it put a massive spotlight on the need for modern forensics, and it started this really vital, long-overdue conversation about how the justice system treats crimes against women.
The Sutcliffe case is just this haunting reminder that evil can wear the most ordinary, everyday mask. And it leaves us with this really unsettling question, doesn't it? With all our modern technology and forensic science, are we really any better at spotting the monster hiding right there in plain sight?